You are watching The Word Exposed. Here we will try to listen to God who speaks to us today through the sacred scriptures. Join me in beholding the truth of God's unwavering love for us. A pleasant morning, my dear brothers and sisters. Today is the 31st Sunday in Ordinary Time. In the Gospel, a scribe asks Jesus which is the first of all the commandments. In reply, Jesus says, "Love God with your all." And he proceeds to the second, "Love your neighbor as yourself." We often hear Jesus saying these, but do we really understand? Friends, like the scribe, may we discover the real message. More than external performance, let genuine love of God and compassion for neighbor move us in everything that we do. According to Jesus, the Holy Spirit will not invent new truth. The Holy Spirit will lead us to the truth that Jesus has already taught. When you have the Holy Spirit, you can speak and explore different languages to address people of different needs. Barriers and boundaries of discrimination, division, and injustice should disappear. The diversity of the gifts should not be a hindrance to the strengthening of the church. God chooses all.
A reading from the book of Deuteronomy. Moses spoke to the people, saying, "Fear the Lord your God, and keep throughout the days of your lives all his statutes and commandments which I enjoin on you, and thus have long life. Hear then, Israel, and be careful to observe them, that you may grow and prosper the more, in keeping with the promise of the Lord, the God of your fathers, to give you a land flowing with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord alone. Therefore, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength. Take to heart these words which I enjoin on you today." The word of the Lord.
Our first reading for this Sunday comes from the book of Deuteronomy. The book of Deuteronomy is a form of maybe what we can call an updated version of the law of Moses. And so we have a more, in a way, polished presentation of the law coming from Moses. And in this portion of the book of Deuteronomy, we find Moses reminding the people of their obligation to fear the Lord and to keep the statutes and commandments coming from the Lord, which of course came to the people through Moses. But this is not just a simple dictation on the part of God on the people through Moses. The statutes, the commandments of God are really based on a relationship between God and God's people. Also, the response, called obedience, to the commandments of God is also based on a relationship of Israel to God. This aspect of relationship, God loving His people, liberating His people, and the people remindful of their relationship with God, how God has been good to them, and responding with gratitude. This is at the root of the law of God and the necessary observance of the law. It is based on a solid relationship. And for Israel to obey the laws of God, that means they should keep the relationship alive. They should remember always what God has done for them. And out of gratitude and thanksgiving, they will obey the law. Now, Moses summarizes the law of God this way. Hear, O Israel. Listen, Israel. The Lord is our God, the Lord alone. So, Israel must open its ears, must open its heart to the fact that there is God, there is one God, and there is no other God. Now, because there is only one God, this God deserves the whole of us. You should love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. Why? God deserves the whole of you. Any God deserves that. But if it is the true God, and there is only one God, then that one God must receive all of our love and our adoration. In other words, Israel is being asked to examine its life. Does it have other gods that could divide their hearts, their minds, and their strengths? You know, my dear brothers and sisters, we experience this. If we have so-called gods, the tendency is for us to serve those gods. And we try to serve those gods, even the false gods, with our minds, with our hearts, with our strength. And so, Moses reminds them there is only one God. Don't have other gods before Him. And because you have one God, you can give your all to this one God. Love must be total, especially if it is directed to the God who has first loved us.